Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
Now, then there's Lori. I'm not Lori, but Tony, and I'll call her Phony. Her name is Tony Prickwinkle, and I call her Phony Prick Tinkle. She looks like an octogenarian Archie. Remember the Archie's comic book?
Mm-hmm.
And she has and by the way, her husband's an old Jewish man. And she covered up for that girl named, I think her name was Terry, young black girl, no, Tanya, the young black girl that got chopped up in Planned Parenthood and they took her to the hospital to bleed to death.
Mm.
She covered up for that. She covers up for the organ harvesting and stuff that goes on in Chicago. She knows, the coroner's office is more corrupt than Donald Trump's asshole. And she is the number 2 person with votes. Lightfoot got like 98,000 votes, and Prick Tinkle got 89,000 votes. And then the white dude Daley. The good news about him is he came in 3rd place throughout the city. He didn't win one black ward. There's still hope for black people, at least in terms of the Daleys.
Mm-hmm.
But Lori Lightfoot, she's going to just dog black people if she wins. If Prick Tinkle wins, she's going to dog black folks. So we have a choice of 2, I think, gay women who hate black men being mayor. And black women are going to have to give an account before God for hating black men and being such chumps and not yoking. If there were gay black men running around doing everything, some straight black men would be calling them out. Black women are chumps. They're lazy. They're slackers, and holding their sisters accountable. They are. Black women need to be slapped around corporately by one another, not us, because they're not up to speed. How could that have happened? How can we run after Stacey Abrams? The one that looks like Walter Payton?
Mm-hmm.
With the fright wig on. You know what I'm talking about. The one
yeah.
All these macho black women, unfeminine sisters who don't really dig black men. Black men, even if they're the biggest RuPaul sissy, can't get far dissing black women. Because some black men will call, hey, we got to stop this. You get where I'm coming from?
Mm-hmm. I hear you.
Black women don't hold up their share. And I'm sick and tired of it. And some black men need to stop begging for cooch and start talking about how they feel about some of this stuff that I see black men getting attacked. Michael Jackson has Oprah Winfrey pissing on him in his grave. Her gay ass. And Gail, who looks like Denzel Washington with the weave. I mean, who is she? So what? R. Kelly's the whole. So it's Oprah. She's a procurer for a rapist hole named Harvey Weinstein. And it means Gail is too. Nobody calls out Oprah. Even when the people come forward and name her, obviously, well, she's $500 million. I guess if Hitler's wife had $1 billion and she was black, she'd get a pass too. The moral compass for sisters, some of them, is completely puzzling to me. And that's part of reparations. Let me digress and say reparations could be many things other than a check. For example, everybody black who has a student loan or has any debt, reparations could include just putting everybody black in debt at 0.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that.
Wow.
Your home, your student loan, your bad bills, just void it. If you have an FHA loan, it's yours.
Mm. Oh, wow, that's
They don't
wow.
even have to, what would that do? What would that do for you?
Oh, it helped
Doesn't have to
tremendously.
Okay, if you
Yeah.
have a black business, we're gonna give you a tax holiday like we give Amazon for 15 years. We're gonna give black people 20 years to establish a business community. We're gonna help them, and we're gonna give you the lowest tax rate possible for 20 years. We're gonna give you, because they're food deserts, we're gonna give you a nutritional credit, meaning that if you buy fresh fruit, the nutritious things that you need to eat, we're going to work with black farmers and all for you to be able to make certain that you can feed your family the best of food. We're going to prevent Big Pharma from stopping you from using traditional herbs, Dr. Sebi and others, Queen Afua and others, to improve the health of your community. Right? Everybody's child that got any kind of mental problem as a result of getting a vaccination, they're going to get a trust fund of $1 million per child. We're going to make the companies pay for it. Or we'll put a bond. Or, yeah, what's up, selfish? This cat does not like me being on the phone with you. This cat needs prayer. Anyway, now, are you feeling me? There's so many different things that could be done. If you had a family member that was lynched, you get something for that. If your family's land got stolen, we need to have a land bank for all the people who are run off the land of the South. And one could prove that they applied for a loan to improve their farm and they couldn't get it, then there'd be some sort of credit for people to hold that land in their family. Are you understanding me? On top of that, the other thing for us would be, which ADOS doesn't deal with, ADOS gets it wrong. Everybody in my family wasn't a slave because everybody in my family wasn't an imported African. There are many people in my family that were indigenous black people, a.k.a. Indians. I want that too. I want what was taken from my indigenous ancestors as well. I want recognition that Indians didn't all look like these white people that I see on the Westerns on MeTV. I have a picture of my great-grandmother upstairs. She's the same complexion as you, Ron. She spoke the language of the original people in Washington, D.C. In other words, she's a black Indian. She didn't learn it from white people. And nobody from Africa taught her. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Black folks have been cheated in so many different ways. So ADOS has to be smarter. And ADOS shouldn't just demand money from America. The immigrants owe us. Yes, they do. Israel owes us. I said that? Yeah, I did. I've got some yid in me. You know that. I want that too. The Sellers family, which means money taker family, they got some money. I want a piece of it. Right? The governments of Africa, y'all giving the Chinese and Indians all these 99-year leases for land. Do some of that for us. Fix it up. But you won't get there hating the people in Africa. We can't. The other thing that ADOS is lacking is the understanding that you're going to have some co-association. Okay? I have family in Canada. I have family in Sierra Leone. I have family in Liberia. I have family in Ghana. I have family in Wales. And maybe other places, allegedly Trinidad. If we're all one family, for ADOS, does that include the people that were from the United States who got taken to Liberia, Sierra Leone, Canada, or the Caribbean? Are they due, in as much as their roots come back to the slaves that were in the United States of America? people need to remember there's a place on the northeast corner of the Dominican Republic. I believe I have family there called Samara. 1 in 10 people in the Dominican Republic have roots in black people who fled the United States and moved to the Dominican Republic following the Civil War. I don't know if you know that.
You want to say that again, Dr. Short, for the people?
1 in 10 people in the Dominican Republic are descended from African Americans that fled the United States and moved to the Dominican Republic after the Civil War.
Wow.
There are other things to get reparations for. My family fled the United States to Haiti, and they were forced to come back. If they had property in Haiti and what was the value of what they lost due to America's involvement in the collapse of the Haitian economy, I want to get paid for that too. Not that we'll get all of this, but to just show the complexity of this, that it's more than just a check. Those of us who had people in Tuskegee and other human experimentations need to get paid. The family, Henrietta Lax's family, where they've done all the cancer research, hasn't been paid a penny. The cancer patents and all, some of that should be shared with them.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, if we can prove blood relationship to some of these wealthy families, and many of us are related to some of the richest families in the country, but due to the racist laws, property couldn't be passed because the old slave code said no slave can own real property. Meaning, my brother, my cousin, who's a Dunstan, and the Dunstans are my cousins in Virginia. Dunstan may not mean anything to you, but there's a place called Dunstan Hall. Dunstan Hall is where George Washington was born.
Mm.
If those are our folks, and they are, where should we get if there's anything on the books for family? Because, a lot of white families have died off. If they've died off, and the whites, but I'm still here, by law, isn't that mine? You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And we can go on and on. Everybody, by the way, not only did we take your house, let's go back to the house, we're going to take the debt off, and we're going to go through and we're going to change the FHA rules that underappraise black houses a minimum 30%. They drop 1/3 of the value because it's black ownership. I'm going to put 30% equity on your house because you're black and you live there, the same way a white person gets equity because they're white and they live there.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine if you had $1 million home, it becomes $1.5 million home because you get treated like a white person? Do you realize how quickly wealth would start accumulating in our community? All these things don't require cash, although we want some cash. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can go on and on of what all reparations is. We no longer have no one white can be a policeman in a black community. Period.
Mm.
Reparations for me, it's a whole package. You can't have an Arab store in a black community. They get bought out by our Black Community Association, and we put all the Asians and others out of our community. Get the F out of my community. The government sets up a sovereign, not the government, but we as a council create a sovereign wealth fund. This is what these Arabs and other people, they sell little dope overseas, and they come over, and they get foreign money from their country that they don't pay taxes on to have businesses in America. We also end that. The U.S. government can no longer allow people to use sovereign wealth funds in South Korea or Yemen to have businesses in black communities. That's outlawed. See how fast those people pack up and leave.
Mm.
You don't hear dummy talking about this. They talk about the disparities. I agree. What are the solutions? What are practical things that we can demand now that are realistic? That even the most racist person, whether they like it or not, would say that makes sense. They don't let people from other countries dump money in white areas and kick white people out of them. Maybe they'll get a factory, but they don't kick them out of a community, right?
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, a reparation could be that we no longer have immigration in this country. Not for about, say, 10, 15 years. And there's certain countries where people don't get to come here. If they have a history of racism towards black people, they're not welcome. Say goodbye to all the Indians. Say goodbye to everybody here with a jacked up attitude. Reparations would mean that all the disparities, the Title VII monies that should have gone to the black colleges and universities are retroactively invested. That means retirement monies for the old teachers and folks who worked for practically nothing to educate our kids get something in their old age.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, I've been thinking about this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people up in Chicago again, Dr. Farid Muhammad and others, who've been fighting against the Boule people trying to get the issue of reparations out. There are lots of people. They've been fighting against some of the same people who are now supporting ADOS. Why are they doing it? I'm going to tell you why Roland Martin and them are doing it. They're doing it to take it over and to destroy it. Roll over Martin, roly-poly Martin, or hey Kool-Aid, whatever you want to call them. These people from the Boule, they are enemies of the soul. In fact, that's something reparations could do. We can have rules and policies to have a consulate that deals with the social issues of black people. And guess what? We can set rules like you can't be a leader if you're in a secret society. Okay. Yeah, hide your little tattoos and brands. We don't want you if you do you understand? So
no.
Anyway.
Well, you know,
move.
Well, I want to ask you this. Like, they have their first conference coming up October 4th through the 5th in Kentucky, I believe. The A.L.L people, I mean, I'm listening to all the stuff you're saying. It's like somebody like you should be at the table.
I know people better than me. I know people much better than me. I'm not asking to be at the table. I know folks who've been doing this for decades. We should be pulling the scholarship and the human rights community people have been out here for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Better than me. I'm not an egomaniac. Better than smarter. They've been to Geneva. I've only been once. They've been doing this stuff for a while. They should be brought in. But I'll share something with you. I have my doubts about people bringing them in because certain folks don't want to lose control. They want to be first. How long before we find out where the ego is in this effort? I'm watching. No. Let me see. Can I want to go on to a fun topic for a second.
Uh-huh.
By the way, let me see. We dealt with Brother Jesse. We dealt with those two butchers up in Chicago. Let me see. Man, we talked about so much before. Oh yes, Kamala Harris. Whew, Jesus. And Umar Johnson. Have you seen how they're dragging him?
What's going on with Umar, Dr. Johnson? I guess. Well,
you know, the Bible says, "Be sure your sins will find you out." You know, we need to pull out that OJ song, "Money, Money, Money, Money." Except, and we put the music with Umar Johnson in the cell with him making it rain. He's if he's having to get that money back, GoFundMe is returning the money to people. I don't know how dude's gonna make it. And that school he doesn't really own. That's what people are saying. And I'm wondering if he has, some children, which he does, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, what was it? That his baby mamas are going to start making a documentary called Hidden Condoms.
Wow.
And I don't know. The thing about it, I have to tell you, the times that I met Umar, every now and then you meet these people, and Umar was so rude and disrespectful. I'm trying to think, why is he being so rude? He has a challenge. And I found when I was in college, the people always talked about psychology. They were always the people that were most jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
And I know folk that are friends to Umar Johnson go around and threaten people and all this other kind of stuff. Hey, I'm not really in the fray of that, but I will say this. My one of my dear friends is an attorney who was willing to defend Umar, but Umar did not have, to his satisfaction, evidence or proof that everything that he said he was doing and he was about was factually correct. That's the nicest way I can put it. I know he wouldn't lie to me. And dude was pro Umar, and when he saw it, he was very sad. So there are people whose hearts have been broken by whatever's been going on. I've never really paid much attention. The day that dude snubbed me and wouldn't let me even say, "Hey, brother, nice to meet you," I said, there's an issue there. I've never really paid attention since. I just happened to look up because there's this thing called anti-Afro Singalis. And this broad is a trip. There are people who are just on Johnson, my God. I mean, J. Edgar Hoover would blush the way that they got his stuff. So I know that there's even a video with Umar Johnson's daddy making statements about it and saying you can't get upset with him now. He's 10 years into it. You can't tell him that he took something now. I'm thinking, that's not a very good thing to say. Are you saying that he wasn't telling people the truth all along? I haven't followed it because I'm not looking for God and a person. And I think our sisters need, and other people need to start being more realistic. And one can establish a school. One can do these things, and you may not need $1 million. But if I've seen people get space, a suitable space, if you have a small number of pupils and you just built on it, it would grow. You know what I'm saying? I think that brother had an incredible audience. Do you realize, had that brother just went ahead and set up a school, even if it was an aftercare program, and did that for a few months, even if he wasn't there the whole time, but got certified people up under him and so forth, he'd be very strong now. Do you get where I'm coming from? He'd be very strong now. He hasn't done this. And if you did have hundreds of thousands of dollars and you didn't even have, say, a small preparatory or aftercare program for maybe 10, 20, 30, 40 youth somewhere where you could have partnered with the city or something to get even more funding and get a grant person to work for you, this could have happened in 10 years. Do you agree with me, or do you think I'm being harsh?
I mean, what Malcolm X said, without criticism, you can't have success, right? To paraphrase Malcolm. I was in the room, people
I
being
can't hear
critical.
you.
I
can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I was saying, like what Brother Malcolm X once said, without criticism, you won't have success. I mean, to paraphrase what he said, and I think there's nothing wrong with having constructive criticism. And like, there's something about Dr. Umar. He is very charismatic, and I like the things he say in his speeches. I mean, he captivates people's imagination, and he gets people attention. But it's unfortunate. You can find something to say about anybody when they're trying to attempt to do certain things. I mean, You know, there's always something. It's
Yeah,
a pros and cons.
well, no, I didn't say I have an issue with much of what he's saying. My issue is when you put a program or propose a program and people believe and they start supporting, you want to have some good faith that you'll follow through. And like I said, if I felt, let's say I was in the same shoes and I had like a few 100,000 in the bank or whatever somewhere, if this was real, and I had really done what was necessary, I would say, hey, look, y'all, it's like I did a retraction. Remember, I did this for Jesse. I said the dude was South African. I was wrong. I don't want to miseducate or lie to people. So I went and did a retraction. Said, I'm very sorry, brothers and sisters. I am not trying to give you something that is incorrect. So pardon me, I didn't do my research. It's completely my fault, not out of malice but it's just moving too fast. That won't happen again. Mm-hmm. Okay, and you fess. If you have a sense of accountability to the people, you do it. No one had to ask me. When I went and checked, it says, I don't want that out there that I had this thing wrong, or that I didn't check. So, but it's even worse than that. I wanted to say I wanted to say the right thing, and I didn't. So I'm wrong. Let's fix it. I'm sorry. I'm moving right along. And you know what? A couple of people gave me thumbs up. Oh, he said he can admit to being wrong. That brother, if he said, hey, look, I need a little bit more, or I need some help organizationally. Let's come together, help me out. Let me get through this thing. Or it's like I'm working with the brother. If I don't have my stuff together in terms of the 501c3 that I want to have, and I'm having issues with vision casting and so forth, then I work with someone else under their rubric and achieve that. Do you get where I'm coming from?
I hear what you're saying, yeah.
This is it. So it's not to tear up the idea of independent schools. Everything that's being said is exactly right. Now, what is the follow-through? And if the follow-through isn't good, a lot of people don't care about your philosophy and what you say. They only care about what you do. And if you don't do, they are pissed. And that's what dude is now. Let's assume that everything that he said he wanted to do, he was trying to do. And let's say his detractors are wrong and he is completely honest. But he's just not, whatever. Whatever it is, the school doesn't exist. The learning isn't happening. The young people aren't being helped. And there are people asking questions. And a similar thing could be said of Boyce Watkins. And it's very interesting. I'm also looking at, there are a lot of people getting clowned these days. What's this other guy? Talcum X. Fong King. F-O-N-G King. I call him Fong. Like in South Africa, they call people Fong Kong. It's like fake South Africans. And I call him Fong King. He does some stuff, but have you ever noticed that Sean King and them get too many exclusives? Right. And by the way, Sean King is a super LGBTQ promoter. There's even an article on Google, you can see it, and it says, consider me gay. I wouldn't write that.
He a preacher too, right? Is he a minister or something?
Yeah, in the United Church of Christ, which, by the way, I saw Jeremiah Wright yesterday. He had a stroke. He was at my church, and Jeremiah Wright said that God delivered him from the demon of homophobia. And within months, he had a massive stroke. Now, religious folks will say God did that to him. I don't know, but he was in a wheelchair. When I saw him, he was walking around, speaking. And so, yeah, you want me to send you a picture of Jeremiah? Right, I'll send it to you. It's really been a phenomenal situation watching this. And the other thing is to talk to, my brother, We got to talk about Oprah Winfrey. You
Oh
know,
yeah, Dr. Phil, you kind of sound far away.
Hmm?
Yeah, I can't hear you. Like you sound like it was low. Your volume was low.
Hold on. Hold on one. Oh, dear. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Oprah Winfrey. Now, in as much as I consider her, you know, I wish she would come out of the closet. It's so big. You could put the World Trade Center in there. You know, Oprah don't like black men. Oprah is always dogging black men. She hates herself. And effectively, you know, I call her Head Sullivan instead of Ed Sullivan. And, you know, she's just, this thing she's doing to Michael Jackson is just ridiculous. I can't stand her. And if people were really, they should join me. I'm going to start telling folks they need to write their cable companies and say they want OWN removed from their package. Oprah can afford to not be on people's package without it being requested. She has shown herself willing to do anything to hurt black people to advance herself. And I'm kind of tired of her. I liked her better when she was fat. She's now, and that's saying something for me. Oprah has just, this thing she's done to Michael Jackson is despicable. And she would never do that to Ed Buckner or Harvey Weinstein or Jeff Epstein or any of these other freaks that are out here, pedophile predators. You know, do this to a dead black man. I don't believe that Michael Jackson was a predator. I was watching an Australian 60 Minutes show with the maid, and she was saying that there were boys and there were like yellow spots, like they're having wet dreams in the drawers, whatever, which happens when you're a boy. My issue is if I didn't see blood stains in the boys' drawers, I wouldn't worry too much. If there were blood stains, I would have called the cops whether I had a job or not. So if I felt that a boy was being hurt or violated, I would have come down on Michael. This broad owes him money. All these people owe this man money. His brand has grown. His wealth has grown in spite of everything. And I think that people hate him for it. I think people hate R. Kelly. As much as I'm not an R. Kelly fan, but let me drag the holes in this. For any of the minors that were violated, if this in fact happened, he should be punished. I don't like pedophilia. It's evil. It's debased. Someone tried to take advantage of my brother and I when I was young, and very close to it. They were grooming us for it. Thank God my mother interceded. I think something I said alarmed and alerted her as best I could say it as a 4 or 5-year-old, and my mother dealt with it. Okay? No, my mother basically said she's going to kill the white D. White D. Let me just say it. And we never saw her again. My mother let the lady know she's going to kill her. That's the end of that. Without saying it, but you'd have to know my mother. But, so I get it. And trust me, that little bit of what that white broad did is still here. So I'm very, very, very reserved with certain people because I don't trust as easily certain types of people. There are things I'll notice about a pet. I'm serious. I'll be referring to the person as a pedophile. I don't want to be over you. Right. I don't get a pedophile vibe from Michael Jackson. I do think this stuff is inappropriate. It's excessive. He should have never been around that many kids. He should have had his own and played with them or adopted them. But that doesn't make you a pedophile or predator. As for R. Kelly, look, a lot of sisters are hoes and they're gold diggers.
Right.
And a lot of these folks are bisexual. This is the same thing with the Judge Joe Brown said. There are a lot of women out here that are dykes or bisexual. You know, they hate men and they go back and forth and they pick the slimiest men to disappoint them so they can say, I'm justified in being a lesbian. All men hurt me. Instead of saying, I'm a bitch and I hate men and I want to be with women, but I can't look in the mirror and say, I'm just jacked up like this and it has nothing to do with other men. I'm just a silly, confused asshole, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can't do that. So I need to put something on men. I'm going to find a man that hit me. I've been around the gay women. They will try to get, not all, but there's a type, try to get you to do something so they can have something to say that you did.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they did. I want to be right in my dykehood. I want to be justified, so no one can say I shouldn't be doing this. I'm serious. Have you ever met? I'm telling you, it's an experience. Some brothers know this is true. They meet a woman and everything's cool, and then the woman start acting crazy. You know why?
Why?
The woman feels like he's a good guy. This is the kind of dude I should be with. But I don't want to be with the man because they're confused. So I'm going to make it fail so he'll go away, right? I'm a ruin this relationship. So, and I'll make it look like, well, you don't have enough money. You don't have enough this. Well, you don't do it right or whatever. It's always something he didn't do, right? Mm-hmm. That way I can be with women because, well, men don't satisfy me. And my thing is, wait a minute, that's no answer. Well, what would it take? Well, you should figure it out. She'll tell a woman what she wants. You won't tell the man. The man got to figure it out, but you'll tell the woman. Same way I was talking about these women that go out with ladies with stubble on their face, but a man has to have a clean shave. Go out with the most grotesque, brute-looking female. Look like Fred Flintstone. Mm. I'm serious. You have to see, a really hard-looking, women look like cement mixing lesbians, right? I'm serious. They look like haunted house decorations, right? And they go out with that, and then they'll be all hard on the dude. And this is something I'm just telling black women. A lot of them are silly as hell about this masculinity thing. A man with a deep voice. You don't hear any black men with really deep voices get to be love singers among sisters. Mm-hmm. The guys all have to shriek and shrill like a lady. It's almost as if a lot of black women need the black man to look like a black woman or they don't like him.
Well, what do you about that Billy Porter thing at the Oscars where Jada Pinkett Smith said that, he should have been best dressed female or something? He had a dress on. Like, black women confuse me. Like, you want a man that wears a dress better than you?
Well,
or you want a man to take better than you?
She's one of the proudest black men in Hollywood. So, maybe she knows something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, some like to wear a dress. We know that. Yeah.
That it was atrocious. Look, it is possible for this is the thing that's eating me.
Okay. It
is possible for a person to be in that life and not be excessive and how can I say deviant extra.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to have that is the part of it that is disruptive. I want to upset and turn over the apple cart. Mm-hmm. I want you to see that I am walking with pants with chaps with my behind hanging out. I need people to see this. That is mental for me. What those two guys do is their business. It's the demanding to be seen for it. Then they'll say, well, why are you under my bed? Damn it, you put everybody under your effing bed. We can't get from out of your bed. You drag us in. You make us know. You run around clacking your tongue ring. Have you ever seen people clack? I don't want to know you have a tongue ring. can I just put that stuff away? I feel the same way about people who are heterosexual. Don't come and tell me all the hoes you've been with. I don't know. It doesn't do anything for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to increase my sperm count. So just why can't we treat this with some reverence? In fact, the more intimate people are, the more they respect and honor each other's space and dignity and reputation. You never heard your father say, "Yeah, Ron, I remember the time your mother and I did it on the pool table back in the Masonic Hall." Your father wouldn't do, because he loves your mother. It's not he don't like the sex too, but is that appropriate, really?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, did you see that stupid interview that woman did with R. Kelly's, whatever that is, his wives or whatever?
No,
and the one wants to know if they were having and all this stuff. But I read it. It's ridiculous to ask them those kinds of questions. They never ask these white hoe-ass women on TV about what they do.
It's crazy.
I think that was Gail, same one.
Yeah,
she's
Gail.
Silly. She does look like Denzel Washington with the weave.
Yeah.
I see why Oprah's with her. She is hard looking.
And you don't say nothing about Stedman no more, right? I mean, what's going on with that? You'll never hear about Stedman.
Well, I mean, this is. I'll give you a story. Let me see, how many years ago? It's 25. It's 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
A Washington Post journalist by the name of Juan Williams, who you've heard of, now with NPR and Fox, who used to be a neighbor of mine, recommended, because I was writing editorials, recommended that I meet Armstrong Williams. Armstrong Williams' office used to be, I think it's like 2146 P Street Northwest. It's exactly like 2 blocks from the DuPont Circle Metro. It's just before you go into Georgetown on P Street.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got a nice kebab shop in that building now. And I went to see Armstrong, and I made the mistake of putting oil on my face. And if I oil my face, and I ran up the escalator when I got to Q Street, and I was sweating profusely. And Armstrong Williams, okay, I'll try to gloss through this, but he was intrigued by why I was sweating so much. And I read between the lines. And he kept asking me, "Why are you sweating? You're sweating." And I just said to him, "I'm just hot." I just came up, and he asked me, "Do you find me attractive?"
What?
And then he asked the next question, "How old do you think I am?" I said, "You're 33. And he says, "I'm 32, but my birthday is in a few months." And he was trying to, and he says, "You must think you know my age because I'm balding, but I go to the gym every day." Okay, I'm going to talk to someone about writing editorials of a conservative nature, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I changed the subject somehow. And what happened, he said, "I want to get out of the office. Let's go get something to eat." And at this point, after someone's trying to get, and the way that they came at me, and I'm a reasonable person. Some people I like. Mm-hmm. They're good-looking people. I mean, Jamal Moore's a good-looking person. Justice Smollett don't mean I want to like the nuts on my chin. But but they're men. They're men. Mm-hmm. Women, God, Lupita, that's my dream. Look, I love black people, so I don't have an issue with giving people props about being talented or good-looking. Although Jesse's ass can't sing,
In fact, my farts sound better than his singing. I mean, he needs to, like, maybe he's already started. The career won't last long if he goes straight into hard gay porn. So maybe he can give his life to the Lord and become like a crooked minister, have all the sisters that want a man. They don't want someone dark skinned and he's got that kind of hair. And he could be like a hustler preacher or something. That would be the longest serving thing he could do. But he's Jewish, unless he decides to become a messianic Jewish evangelical pulpit pimp. But anyway, Armstrong says let's go to lunch, and Armstrong, once he gets to the circle. And we're going, I forget, we get to like 19th Street or whatever. And he says, what is Juan Williams to you? That's a scandalous brother. As if he was about to tell me a whole bunch of personal stuff and try to figure out what's going on between me and Juan Williams. Are you feeling where I'm going with this? And I says, Armstrong, I'm really not interested. I'm not having this discussion. We went to the place. I didn't let him buy me anything. I'm thinking, I don't want this. Dude, even if I were even if I was in the same world as you, that's not the way you approach anybody if you have any respect for folks. To try to figure out who someone's screwing, you don't even know them. Why do you think someone wants you? So we go back, and by the way, I'm not anti-Armstrong. This is what happened. Don't do it. Don't do it if you don't want people to remember stuff like this. We go back to his office, and I guess so. And he begins to show me and boast about, and the group is called the Graham Williams Group. Stedman Graham, Armstrong Williams Group. And there are all these pictures of Armstrong Williams and Stedman Graham and Oprah. And he talks about how close he is to Oprah and how much he loves Oprah and how Oprah is right. And I was invited to join the Graham Williams Group. I never got back to him about that. Now, tell me what you think about what I just told you.
It sounded like it was a invitation. It was kind of like one of them Illuminati deals or Boule deals. Where, you got to give up that ass to get to some play. It's like you invite you to a sex cult or something. I don't know, man. It would sound like some type of swinger stuff going on.
So I did nothing like that was discussed. But yeah, so that's what I sense something unusual. And so Oprah and Armstrong are close. Armstrong has had more than one case. He was sued by one gentleman who claimed he was sexually harassed back in 1995 or 96. 97 is the age, between 95 and 97, and he had to pay out several $100,000 to this dude because he was sort of like Rumpelstiltskin. Remember, Rumpelstiltskin gave him the gold, but eventually wanted the baby.
Oh my God! Okay.
I mean, don't hate me. I didn't do it. What happened was the dude really wanted to work in television and radio, and he was working with Armstrong, and he was friendly. And in fact, a lot of dudes have to kind of do the stuff for DC where gay folk have all the power. Ouch! Get off. This cat scratched me. They're mad that I'm on the phone. This cat needs to get a man.
Anyway, what happens, the guys, oftentimes in D.C., when you deal with these imperious power queens, you're not tolerated if you're a heterosexual man and you're not at least friendly, and you're not friendly to these people. They don't like that. It's like the man that wants the woman available at the job. Like, I really would like to screw my secretary. Don't be so professional. You won't be continued here. So the guys have to be sort of at least friendly, or at least not openly disdainful of the conduct of these people. And so this guy was charming and friendly, and Armstrong was like, chomping at the bit to like get blessed. And when the dude realized I'm gonna have to really boink this dude to keep this job, he's not gonna let me stay here unless he gets home. He filed his EEOC complaint, and he won. And I'm aware of another such complaint that emerged in 2016, which is why I'm saying, Ben Carson, baby, that's your campaign manager. He's a wealthy man. He's a good businessman. He's well connected. But if you don't, in this age where dudes can get married, if you can call it that, seems like he could like buy himself a little Jussie from South Africa, go to the slums and get himself some rental meat or whatever, and just keep that dude cloistered if that's what he needs, versus trying to prey on other people or whatever it is. I don't know, whatever it is that they're looking for. And I'm not hating nobody. I'm only telling you this is how it looks. So if this is what he's doing, and he's super close to Stedman, if you saw the picture that I saw in the office, where I'm going to say this, and oh God, I'm honest. Being honest is really a trip. Oprah looked like a fag hag with two gay friends. I'm not saying either man is one way or the other, but you've never seen a picture of a woman that likes to hang out. She's gay herself. She has men. They like the company of a man, but they don't want a man to be intimate with them. The picture had this feel to it. There was nothing bad about the picture. They're smiling. Everything is friendly, but it's like more is going on between the friendship of the men in the picture than the woman. She's like a prop. She's like some parsley on a steak. She's not the main thing sizzling on the plate. You feel this is real. I mean, I had no idea. I didn't know there's any connection. I've really not talked to people much about it. And Stedman, he comes from a family, I believe, in either Delaware or New Jersey, somewhere between Philly and D.C. And the family is sort of like the Swans and Proctors, if you're familiar with them. Are you?
No, sir.
The Brass Ankles are certain. Okay. The Swans and Proctors are like distant cousins on my mother's side. Okay. They look like Camille Cosby, who's like a cousin. In fact, when I was at the funeral yesterday, I realized a person I hadn't seen in 35 years, that one of my favorite friends from Howard is a cousin of mine. I never knew where they were from. We're the same family. I just learned that yesterday. This is crazy. But anyway, to make a long story short, the people are they're various color tones. Some people are red skin, whatever, but this Camille Cosby is very fair, okay? The Swans and Proctors are fair, and they will never marry people my complexion or yours.
They try to marry even close relatives. They try to keep the family distinctively not black, not white, but not black. You get where I'm coming from? You know, if there are these families where people are like this, where they only want to be with other people who are almost practically white, or at least very, very, very fair. And Stedman comes from one of these families. And one of the things that you'll find that some of these families is high rates of mental retardation and other issues.
Okay.
Because they're so closely inbred. I'm not saying that's true of him. I'm not saying that about any of that. And I believe that if Oprah, will she have $3 billion? I mean, I know a lot of greedy dudes that would have married Oprah, no matter how much she looks like, you know, Miss Pill, like Aunt Jemima got laid off from Pillsbury. It doesn't matter. They would be with her to get to that damn money. And so either Oprah is selfish and won't share that, or she just doesn't want to get whatever it is. And so if she wanted to marry him, there's somebody that would put up with her. I mean, and there's some dudes that don't mind, you know, they don't mind the woman that looks like Rerun from What's Happening. I mean, they'd be happy with Oprah. So she does look like Rerun. And
I don't know. I just think Oprah and Gail is awfully close, man. Like they'll sleep in the same bed together or something like that.
You know, well, if two brothers slept in the bed together, it doesn't make them gay. But if you did it for year after year after year,
right?
At some point we have to like say, okay,
how like much? Bert and Ernie stuff, right?
I've seen people be very close, but the thing is, honestly, you know, and the thing for me is they deal with sex too much. The way that Gail tried to get into R. Kelly's thing, it's like you have a problem with two women being fulfilled by a dude. Frankly, Gail, maybe you should try some R. Kelly. A little bump and grind with a real man, maybe bring you back from, you know, the abyss.
But you know what? But her and Cory Booker was an item at one point. I remember they saying Cory Booker was the boyfriend of Gail. I'm trying to figure out. I mean, Cory. To me, it's something like off about Cory. It's something very corny about him. I don't know. Something weird off about.
Did we talk about the guy who has the shrine?
Yeah, you told. Yeah, we talked about it. Bowie State. Yeah, we talked about that one show. Yeah.
So the other thing I want to say to you about Cory Booker is this: he's tight with, you know, he's the head, one of the people in the gay caucus in Congress.
Okay.
And he's a major champion for gay stuff. Why did he need to let the world know he had a girlfriend in Newsweek and Time? He's got a boo.
He got a beard. That's what he got. And he clean shaven.
Well, actually, he said that, but what I said on Facebook is that if we were to make a reality television show for Cory Booker, it would be called In Search of a Beard.
Yes.
I'm not.
I mean, allegedly,
you know,
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just thinking, Cory Booker, you're a senator. You're in Washington. You have some money. And self-hating, pardon my language, fucked up black America where black is ugly, although we claim to be black. You're light skin with green eyes. I've seen girls get pregnant by dudes just because they had green eyes, hoping that kids would have green eyes. There's some silly, jacked up, self-hating, bleaching, weave-wearing, cool female that would do anything to have light eyes on their kid that they probably wouldn't want once they saw the green eyes, would neglect them and have them wear the same Pampers for 10 weeks. However, they wanted the green eyes, right? There's a woman that would cock her legs open and hope that she could have light-colored, green-eyed kids, especially here in D.C., where black is definitely not beautiful. And I'm from here. That's not my opinion. Of course, I love black. But, you know, I've seen it. I mean, D.C. had a Supreme Court case in the school system because Boule Coons in here had 3-tier racial segregation in the school system. If you were very dark-skinned in the school, they had a thing called the track system. At the top, it was for the light-skinned and caramel-colored people. It's called the academic track. And then below that, there's the academic track. The academic track, the professional trade track, and then the basic track. The basic track, that's the dark-skinned people. Yeah, we black folks are really evil and talk about white people. We have this junk in our community that we don't want to deal with. You get where I'm coming from?
I hate it. Yeah,
so I know here in D.C., it's really ugly. That to me, there's someone that would do anything to have someone Corey's color. In fact, I've grown up around Howard, and there are these women who know that their husbands may have an affair with a man or a woman, but if he takes good care of them, they keep their mouth shut. They don't want to feel another woman's drawers under their behind when they're in their bed. You know, or wake up with another woman's Kotex in her pillowcase. Okay, that she can't stand. You can whore, you can even have a man, but don't make them know it, right? And as long as they're in furs and ermine, in fact, a lot of these sisters, you know, they're Greek type, they're probably a little dykish themselves, and they don't like sex at all, so the man not screwing them is like a relief. You know, there are women who probably like, 5 centimeter deep vaginas, so they can't handle no ordinary brother, so they don't ever want to do it. So, you know, after they have like one kid or two, the husband and them are just living together, you know, sort of like a Bill and Hillary situation. There are women that would put up with Corey, do whatever, as long as he didn't beat them up. And as long as he's a good father to kids, you can have all the boys, all the girls you want. Just don't bring that crap home. And you do have it. And you have the same thing in Memphis. Come on. You know you do. What's the family down there with that little Jew that looks like Elton John with a bald head? What's your congressman?
Steve Cohen.
That's no good. Cohen, yeah. Y'all need to run his ass out of there. That's a disgrace. Negroes in Memphis had this space alien looking. I mean, he looks like E.T. and Elton John put together. He hates y'all. He can't stand y'all. Y'all have no business with him down there. He's got nasty people on his staff. He's phony. I'm serious. I mean, he's somebody, I mean, shoot. I wish he could trade places with Emmett Till. I mean, he just awful. Y'all. Anyway, I'm sorry. I had this awful experience with those Negroes when I was in Tennessee with Cohen. I mean, y'all need to get rid of him. ADOS needs to get rid of him. There's so many black people. In fact, the family I talk about where everybody was a hoe is the Ford family. You know they hoes.
Well, they got certain individuals within the family got reputations.
Not the one that's in the white people, but the father of the one that's in the white
Harold Ford Sr.
son.
Yeah, Harold Ford Jr.
Harold Ford Jr. looks like a baby bird trying to get some worms. And
okay.
But and self-hating, and he's light-skinned, and he knew he could get, and he just knew everybody wanted him because, he just feed into the black self-hatred. Your child could almost look like they're white if you.
Yeah, he supposed to be where Obama ended up coming, right? They were trying to make him he's going to be the first black president. They were trying to hype him up. He almost won the Senate seat in Tennessee, but couldn't pull it out. Because he wanted a white girl at the end. Yeah.
No, that thing about the thing about Harold Ford Jr. His Obama thing that he did was very stupid.
Mm-hmm.
He was stupid. He was very stupid. He's doing the exact same thing that the Democrats doing at large, and that is that they don't, what's the song? I know you want to leave me, but I refuse to let you go. Right? Ain't you proud to beg, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. The Democratic Party is too proud to beg for black votes. They're arrogant. And Harold Ford Jr. spent all his time in eastern Tennessee trying to get these hillbillies that would rather shoot him and use him for fertilizer for their apple trees than have him be senator. Okay, let's just talk straight here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or what are the other trees? They're what's that thing called? The pecan trees. Use them for pecan tree fertilizer. He could have worked South and West Tennessee and won. But he didn't want to come off as being too close to black people. So he considered himself a blue dog Democrat, and in reality he was a screw dog Democrat because it didn't really matter that he didn't do all this stuff and he took all these stances and so forth. I remember talking to a guy on his staff in 2000 trying to introduce some discussions about human rights for African Americans. That dude literally ran for me like Jesse Owens with his ass on fire. It was just, please don't talk to me about justice for black. It's like, wow, why are these people so scared of the people that they're so supposed to represent? So, but Harold Ford Jr.'s father was a whole, he was, and Harold Ford Jr. was a coon, and that's what brought them down. But, I think Harold Ford Jr. now and then did stuff. Cohen seems to be more interested in people's pets than black people. So he can't do anything for me except, have a stroke and a Coke and a smile.
Wow.
And I hope it's his last Coke. I mean, just awful. I just really, that's a seat, a congressional seat y'all could get back. In fact, Hurd, why don't you run for that seat in Congress?
Oh, well, I was thinking about Harold Ford Jr. when he vacated that seat. It caused a divide in the black vote, and it's been divided ever since. Like, we got a white mayor now. And because the black vote is so divided in the city. But, Memphis is such a cliquish town, though. You got to have the right last name, like a Ford or a Bailey or a Hooks. If you don't have the right last name, you won't get in. Very Boule, black elitist type of thinking.
Well, I'm just trying to think. So, you have a white man now, but didn't you have a crooked chief of police a couple of years ago and a crooked mayor?
I don't.
Why do people?
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
It must be all the pork rinds y'all eat down there.
There's a lot of barbecue, man. We do eat a lot of pork down here. You know what it is? It's that crump mentality. Memphis just got, but 50 years ago, Memphis was up there with Dallas and Atlanta and Nashville. We got left behind. I can't say it's just a king thing, but it's also the crump mentality from Boss Crump days, that plantation mentality that we got. Because we never had to struggle for the vote. You know what I'm saying? Like, we always had the franchise, so to speak. The black people always had to vote in Memphis, as long as we voted Democrat and for Boss Crump and his people. We always had our vote. We didn't have to struggle like Mississippi or Alabama and places like that with the vote. So we're kind of lazy, I think.
It sounds like D.C. The thing that's really funny, I have to mention to you, this person called me from Memphis last week, and I've got to go back in the archives and look to see where my great-great-great-grandfather was from West Tennessee, which I don't understand it.
And so someone reached out and asked me, "Are you related to the people over?" And it's just, it could be. I just don't. I don't have anything more than a birth date for the man.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I knew more. I don't know how to find it. I have to go back and look, but